peoples, or good morning, or good afternoon, whatever time of day it is, whatever season it is. Um, I've actually been enjoying just working on this piece for 10 minutes at a time. I just switched my whole space around, and it's given me a whole different type of feel. But I think considering these 10 minutes in the theme of coinciding with the theme with the whole process of me changing my whole place around, kind of gives me the sense that compartmentalizing your life is super necessary. I guess almost kind of giving yourself either limits or parameters or spaces and times to take care of your things, take care of your duties and your ideas. And so it's been kind of like a interesting week because of that. And on top of that, like a new job, new methods of organization, and creating a schedule for myself in order to make sure I'm taking care of what I need to take care of, not only on the job, but away from my paying job. And what I mean by that is this creative work, recognizing there's value in this and putting time into this, whether it's music or the drawing and all that. But with the music, I feel myself getting more efficient with my technique. I think there's way more. There's still a lot of theory and practice I need, but that's never ending. I can't imagine being, let's say 70 years old and thinking I know everything about guitar. Because I think a musician, it's almost with that, if you kind of understand your own ego as a musician or a creator or a player, I think you're humbled by the fact that, man, there's just so much to learn and it's never ending. And that's just life in general, to think like, you're always a student. And I think the masters of any technique or any style or any discipline, that's what makes them masters, is they know what it's like to be a student, a lifelong student. And ideally that's where I want to be, a master of my craft and my movement. And with that, I think this rambling kind of helps too to kind of formulate these ideas, because I see friends here and there and I talk to people here and there, and I live alone, and living alone, like, it's less of a chance or opportunities to talk to people. So I have to tend to talk to myself. In this case, I'm talking to you, and you being whoever's listening to this, because I don't know who is going to listen to this, I assume. But in the end, I'm just talking to myself and putting things in perspective right now. It's like 10 minutes. Again, give myself this 10 minutes to draw, and give myself this 10 minutes to reflect, and maybe reflect on the last couple of days or this week. And yeah, it's been interesting to kind of reevaluate my space and what it means and what's important in my space. Because now, like, work is becoming more important, because now I'm back at work with the school year starting, and so I'm creating a space for that work, and then I'm creating space for my organization and my postcard hustle. So I got my stuff organized over there, and I'm realizing, there's some stuff I don't need, and trying to figure out, like, okay, how can I just let go, and learning how to let go, and I think this drawing that you're seeing is part of that process. It's going to have that stamp. It has that stamp because you're hearing it now. Like, it's part of my life in this moment. And so whenever I go through certain reflections or certain things, my drawings typically, if not reflected visually, at least have that feeling in it, because I can kind of go back to some drawings and think, like, man, that's where I was. Like, I can remember feeling certain ways or being certain places and doing certain things. Not all the time, but it's definitely a stamp of where you were in your life. I mean, and you can kind of see it in your lines and how fast you work. In this case, like I'm marking my own process in real time. I'm not speeding this up, nor am I enhancing it. Like, I tend to kind of think about what I'm gonna draw next before I start recording. But even, I have to convince myself, just record and start drawing. Like there's no answer about it. It's just about doing. And so just little by little, just getting more comfortable with that idea of just go, record, put that pen down and go. Put your thoughts down and go. And make the mistakes. Like, in this case, I'm again, like I think the last video I talked about working with Sharpies, and I'm putting it down and I'm moving, and I accept the fact that I'm gonna accept whatever lines I make, and there's no erasing, there's no going back, but there's moving forward with it. So this idea of making a mistake comes from that, of just putting it down, and it's now forever, in the sense of you can't erase Sharpie. I can start on a whole clean paper, a whole different canvas, but in this case it's like seeing it through. Okay, I'm kind of carrying the last lesson into this lesson, is seeing it through, right? And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna keep on rambling because it's 10 minutes, and perhaps maybe I don't have to ramble. Maybe I'll just let this in silence. Like I think there's this thing about young people watching other people play video games, like recording their game playing, and I don't understand it, but I do. Like I can kind of empathize with it, because we watch football games, and we watch anything. And even today I was with a friend on a bike ride, and we ended up talking about movies, and for a while now I've been kind of realizing, like, there's this, I think it's important to understand when something is good to you, when a movie is good or it's entertaining. Like, because some stuff can be entertaining, but it's just not stimulating. Like it captured you for that moment, but it's not something you would go back and feel like, oh man, it's gonna stimulate me again. It's like, no, you had your moment, it was entertaining, and let's move on. And I feel like that's a lot of the content on most avenues, whether it's Netflix and stuff like that. Like, there's a handful of things in your life that are so stimulating that you can go back to over and over and over and over and still get something out of it. Like, it's almost, it kind of marks your emotions of like, man, like I love this film, and then you start questioning, like, well, hopefully, ideally, you start questioning, like, why do I like this film? Like, why is it good to me? And maybe perhaps you identify with a certain character or the plot, and so yeah, but also realizing, like, oh, I'm entertained. I like being entertained. And in fact, perhaps you're relying on entertainment in order to pass the time. And in my opinion, I think that's when you have to recognize, man, am I dependent on something else to entertain me? And so that's why I kind of push, like, entertain yourself, like, find your own entertainment. Like, if you like movies, make your own movie, or try it. Like, it's not always like that, or it doesn't have to be like that, but I think it's a worthy consideration to think, like, oh man, like, I like movies, I like music, like, can I write a song? And I've been diving into that idea of, like, well, music has been a part of my life, and there's this comic, Ron Funches, who says, like, write about what you love, what you hate, and what you fear. I feel like those are really nice places to start, because a lot of times you can just kind of sit there and just not know what to write about, because you're thinking about the perfect song, or you're editing while you're thinking. And a good practice is just write, and I'm not there yet. I'm not there with just let it free flow, because I think I edit while I'm thinking. And yeah, it's just practice. It's just moving on and figuring out, like, where your flow is. But yeah, I think I'm leaving the drawing up to right here at this point. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you had a good day. We're on our way. Peace.